Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back with some more MBTI. Today we're going to be diving into another one of our extroverted sensors. This is the extroverted sensor, thinking perceiver, ESTP. Let's go. So, the ESTP is going to base everything on new things. They're going to be very good at completing tasks. They're going to be doing without even thinking about it, finding the new things and completing their tasks, being physically manipulative, being able to do things with their hands. That's the divine slot. The crown slot, what they feel responsible for is going to be logic. They are going to be very logical in what they do. The third eye, what you see, are defensive over and seeing forward into the future, is going to be FE for the ESTP, that is future feelings and ethics, and NI for the alternate, that is going to be the best possibility and guidance. The throat, what you miscommunicate and misunderstand, is going to be NI for the ESTP, which is best possibility and guidance, and throat for the FE, which is future feelings and ethics. The heart, what you really want to do with your life, there's going to be SI. It's going to be organization and what has happened. You're not going to be very good at it, but that's what you want. You want to be able to organize things. The solar plexus, what really feeds you is other people's rationale, is being in line with other people's rationale. The sacral, the part that you just intentionally choose the wrong thing, is going to be FI. It's going to be your own morals and feelings for the ESTP, and for the alternate, that's going to be future possibilities and foresight. And for the base, that's going to be what you just miss. Like you get overpowered by it, and you use it in exactly the wrong way. So it's going to be NE, which is future possibilities and foresight for the ESTP, and it's going to be FI, which is past feelings and morals for the alternate. All right, Pid, so now that we know what the stack is, how do we integrate this? How do we make this part of ourselves and improve who we are as people from this? We're going to start at the base because that's where everybody starts. You need to take time. You need to pray. You need to meditate. And when you're praying and meditate, you need to think about these things. And for the ESTP, you're going to need to be looking at the future possibilities, right? So you need to look at the situation and say, okay, what can come from this? Whatever it happens to be, you need to look at what the possibilities can be. You're strong in your logic, so you can yes-no check this really easily. But you have a tendency to not look at the other ideas and to not look at the other options. And so you need to do that. You need to slow down and think about what other things from this. You're really good at getting jobs done. You're really good at making things work. You're really good at understanding the logic behind something and exploring and getting new things to give to the tribe. But you tend to miss the greater idea of it. So you need to stop and think about that. What could possibly come from this? Look forward just a little bit and say, what could be an outcome from this that I'm not anticipating? You have a tendency to overlook that, especially if it has to deal with a moral issue. For the FI, that's going to be your morals. You're not going to really understand where you sit in your morals. You're going to overlook that completely. You're going to be relying more on the tribe's rationale without even really thinking about it. As far as morals, you're going to be dealing with their ethics. Their ethics are fine by you. You don't really care about your morals. That's not to say that you're deliberately immoral, but you just don't see things the same way. You don't see whatever the moral situation may be, but we're going to take drinking, right? If you don't see drinking being a problem at all, you're like, what? I drink. So what? That's literally the energy you're having. Even if you've got cirrhosis, you're still going to say, so what? It's just drinking. You don't look at the moral side of that. You don't look at what could be the possible outcomes of that. You're a mean drunk, yet you drink. You don't see the problem in the moral of getting drunk and beating your wife. And yes, that is a big problem. If you're doing that, seek help right now. So you're going to need to stop and slow down and get firmer in your morals. Logic check where you stand on issues. Whenever a moral issue comes up, and you're not going to be good at recognizing them, so you're really going to need to bounce this back off of people, but you need to stop and consider whether or not that is where you want to align in your morals. Morals are all about your decisions. I'm not going to tell you that it's bad to drink. I'm not
going to tell you that it's bad to smoke crack. Objectively, it might be, but there are rare case instances for everything. A little bit of alcohol is good for you. It stimulates your system, gets your blood flowing pretty good. It works on your gut health. Like beer is really good for gut health. The bacteria and the yeast really help regulate your stomach. But if you're taking too much of it, then the alcohol overpowers the benefit. So you're going to need to stop and look at your morals. You're going to need to say, okay, do I want to stand here? Yes or no? You're good at logic, right? You're good at seeing the things. You're good at logic. And so logic check whether or not this is a good idea. Is this moral? If I take this $20 that I found on the ground right here, that I saw this guy drop, if I take it and put it in my pocket, is that a moral problem? For you, it might not be. For me, it absolutely would be. But different people have different morals. So you need to decide for yourself where your morals lie and then stand on them, decide that that's what it's going to be, and then make it be that. Regardless of whatever else may happen, make it be that. Start standing where you want to stand. Now, I'm not telling you what your morals need to be. I'm telling you that you need to develop some. The sacral, this is your trickster energy. This is where you intentionally choose the wrong thing. Nobody says, hey, that's a dumb idea, I'm going to do it. But you do. You're like, you miss it and you completely misunderstand it and you completely get it wrong and choose the wrong thing. You're not getting, you're getting a good bit of energy here, right? The divine and the base get about 90% of the information. The sacral and the crown get about 70%. The third eye and the solar plexus is about 50%. And the throat and the heart's about 30 to 20%. So you're getting a good bit of information here, but because it's coming from the bottom, you're just doing it the wrong way. That's how the energy works, right? You get overpowered at the top and the bottom, and when you get overpowered in the top, it is generally speaking a good thing. When you get overpowered in the bottom, it is generally speaking a bad thing. So in order to incorporate this, you need to stop and think about it. You really need to spend some time in this. And for the ESTP, that is your morals. Again, you're not just missing the morals, right? You're not saying picking up this $20 bill and sticking it in my pocket is no problem. You're literally saying, haha, I got that money. And you taking that money, sticking it in your pocket, knowing that it's wrong. Knowing that according to everyone else's ethics, it's the wrong thing to do, but you don't give a shit. You're like, whatever. It's ambiguous. They dropped it. They shouldn't have dropped it if they wanted to keep it. That's a problem. You need to stop and consider your morals and whether or not they are logically consistent with the ethics of the tribe. The ethics of the tribe are not always correct, but they are generally correct because that the pushback from the tribe makes it where you can't deviate a whole lot from the morals or from the ethics of everyone. Like you can't go around killing people, even if morally you don't find a problem with that. And some people don't. Look at Dahmer and Gacy, right? They didn't find a moral problem with killing people at all. The tribe's ethics did, but they didn't at all. And so you need to really figure out whether you want to stand there. Again, morals is all about your choice. What you decide is the right thing. You use the ethics to help you decide that, but ethics is what everyone else has decided is the right thing. Morals is what you have decided is the right way to go, the right way to live your life. And so in order to strengthen this, you really need to look at these options with the NE, you're already working on that, and then use them to find some better morals. You just happen to choose the wrong side of it every time. You're going to get a lot of sexual promiscuity in this. You're going to get a lot of drug use in this. You're going to get a lot of that because to you, the morals just really are the wrong ones. You really are just choosing the wrong side of that argument. Not every time. Nobody is absolutely immoral, right? You can make the argument for some people, but even them people have redeeming qualities. Everybody has a redeeming quality. And so we need to strengthen that and bolster that. And in order to do that, for you specifically, you're going to have to sit in your morals. You really should take a little more time than anywhere else in your trickster energy because you are intentionally choosing the wrong thing. You're saying, I know that this is wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. stop doing that. If you know that it's wrong, don't do it. You be the one who doesn't do that. You're good at that. As far as getting tasks completed, right, and being logical about it. So your logic tends to tell you here in this specific instance, right, if it's a moral decision, your logic is telling you that it doesn't matter. But it does. It does for you, for your own personal growth. You cannot get good things from doing bad things. It doesn't work that way. You can get short-term monetary gain for being immoral, but it is going to get you. You will go bankrupt. You will get indicted. You will get caught doing something dirty. It is going to happen. So you need to stop doing the dumb shit. For the alternate, this is going to be seeing the possibilities, right? So you see the possibilities, but you choose the worst possible one out of them. Now, nobody does this intentionally. Nobody's like, well, this is going to be catastrophic. Let's get that a shot. But that's generally what winds up happening. And you know I'm right. And if you are an ESTP alternate, you know what I'm saying. Somebody else may not get it. Somebody with a high NE is like, what? But you know that if you've got three choices and you've got a good one, a bad one, and a really good one, right? Or a middle road, a good and a bad, you're going to choose the worst option. Not intentionally most of the time, but it is an intentional choice to choose that. You need to stop. You need to consider these things. Check it back against these morals that you are developing and see if that choice is actually the choice that you want. You have a tendency to overlook these things and choose the wrong things because you don't really care about morals. This is, again, more sexual promiscuity, more less of the sexual nature, even though you love to give the experience. So there is a good bit of sexual addiction that resides in this energy. Because you don't have morals, right? For the most part, you really just don't have the morals. And so you don't see the problem with sleeping with 4 women at the same time. That's a problem. You may not see that. You see that as a conquest, but it is dumb. Like you were spending your energy in 4 different places that are probably not aligned with you. Like most likely not really aligned with your greater purpose. And so you need to slow down and look at these options and be like, hey, wait a second. Yes, in the short term, it is pleasurable to have sex with 4 women. But in the long term, this is really a bad idea. And so you're looking at these ideas, right? And you're seeing the other ones. What is the possible consequence that can come from this immoral decision? You decide to smoke crack one day just because you want the new experience. And then the next thing you know, you're stuck in it. You can't get off of it. You fucking with the horse, or you doing fentanyl, or whatever it happens to be. You're like, I want the new experience. I'm probably not going to die. That's your yes/no check. You're like, I'm probably not going to die if I get this, if I do this thing. And then you're just wrong. Spend some time considering the other options. Really consider them and really look at your morals and really decide if that's what you want to be doing. The solar plexus, this is what feeds you. If you are doing this, it makes you feel great. It feeds your soul, and that is TE. So if you are actually considering the rationale of the tribe and not just your own logic, and what you have decided is the best idea, then if you're taking in the other people's rationale and the why they are doing the things that they're doing, right? It's because rationale is other people have decided that this is the best thing and this is why. This is their rationale as to why they have decided this. You have a tendency to overlook that simply because you like the new experience and you like to logic check against your own feelings. Or not your own feelings, but your own idea of the best idea. You've already decided that something is the best idea, but you don't get a whole lot of energy in the best idea slot, either one of you. So you're really not considering other people's thoughts on whatever the situation happens to be. Other people are telling you that fentanyl is a bad thing. You don't need to be doing fentanyl. Everybody's telling you that, but you're logic checking it against the fact that you want this new experience. And you're like, I'll be all right. I'm probably not going to wind up addicted to this. But guess what? If you're not addicted, you're dead, right? That's your energy here. It really is. You get trapped in that new experience really easy. And if you're getting trapped in that new experience because your morals aren't set, then it's bad energy. If you're getting trapped in the new experience because your logic is really telling you that this is the best thing and your NI is really telling you that this is the best idea, then that can be positive. That is working a little bit too much, right? Workaholics live in this. And a lot of that's going to have to do with the fact that they like to complete the task. Completing tasks makes other people feel good. People assign you a task and you complete it, and then they're happy with that. So you like that. It makes you feel good. It feeds that feeling that's way down on the bottom. But you have a tendency to not look at the morals and to not look at the possibilities, so you have a tendency to be choosing the wrong things to complete, right? Your spouse asks you to help clean up the house and you're tightening the bed frame, to do a specific TikTok I saw. Now, that's not always a bad thing, but it can be. But if you are checking to make sure that the rationale is correct, she asked me to help around the house, and instead of deciding that the best thing to fix in the house is that headboard that keeps hitting the wall, maybe she wanted you to help with the dishes. Maybe that was her rationale. Maybe her rationale was to help with the clothes or to pick up after the kids or the dogs or whatever it happens to be. Check back against your tribe. Your spouse is your tribe, like almost always, and should always be, but nothing is ever absolute. So you really do need to kick it back against whoever it is that you're seeing the new thing, you know that it needs to be done logically, and you've decided that that's the best one, right? Well, you need to make sure that they think that's the best one too. That's really all you're going to have to do here, is to check back against the tribe on your TE. Be like, hey, is this actually what you wanted? It's that simple. It really is. Because you're not looking at the morals and you're not looking at the other possibilities. The tribe will help you with that. If you go and say, hey, you asked me to help around the house, I'm going to go fix the bed. And they're like, no, that's not what I need. What I need is for you to complete this task. And if you can complete this task that the tribe actually wants you to complete, then you're going to feel great. But instead, you've decided that fixing this bed is the most important thing. And then when you get done with that and the tribe is not happy with that, it feeds a loop of, why are you not happy with me? Like, you're miscommunicating your FE, or you're very defensive over your FE. I thought that this was going to make you feel good. Why is it not making you feel good that I completed this task? It's because it's the wrong task. You chose the wrong task. It was not the best option. It was not really in the list of options that you should have been looking at. You intentionally chose the wrong thing. And that's a really good example of that. Intentionally choosing the wrong thing is, she asked me to help with the house and I decided that this thing needed to be done instead of the more obvious stuff that really needed to be done. We got a sink full of dishes. We've got a pile of laundry. We've got the carpet hasn't been vacuumed in a week. And yet you've decided that this small thing that you can complete because you're good at completing things is what they really meant. And it is not. You completely got that wrong. You completely missed the possibilities that were the right ones and intentionally chose to go fix this bed. Or she asked you to clean around the house and you go outside and mow the grass or weed eat or pick up sticks or go fix the roof on the shed or whatever it happens to be. You're intentionally choosing the wrong thing. But if you can take the time to actually check back against the tribe, it's going to help you greatly. They're going to be able to tell you, right? No, that's not really what I meant. I didn't mean for you to go fix the bed. I meant for you to wash the dishes. And then when you wash the dishes, it helps. And, it helps them to feel good. And it helps you to get that feedback of completing a task that the tribe actually wanted to complete it. Now, no one should ever have to ask you to help clean up your own home. If that makes you feel like you're less of a man because you're vacuuming the floor, then you've got another issue. We've talked about the issues in this channel. We'll talk about them some more. You should be helping out with both your house and your kids regardless. Like if you're a guy or a girl, you should absolutely be a partner to your partner with that. And I'm not trying to get off on that rant, so we're going to let that go. The heart. This is what you really want to do, but you're not very good at it. You don't get a lot of information here. It's 20 to 30% reception, so you're missing 70 to 80% of the information. And it's on the downside of it, so you tend to overlook it. You tend to get it wrong. And that's organization for you, right? You're very good at finding the new things, but you're not very good at figuring out which one's the best one or the more appropriate one. You're really good at bringing in new business. You're really good at completing these tasks. You're really good at finding new cars or computers or whatever that happens to be. But you're not good at organization. You don't like to file things. You don't like to clean things. You don't like to do things that are on the organization, dealing with the now to the past in things. So you need to stop and do that. You need to take these new things and then start to try to figure out which one's the best one. You need to take these new experiences and start to try to figure out which ones are the best ones. If you can get organized, you will be a Superman, because you're the type of person that somebody can say, hey, I need to build a house. And you're like, all right, bet. Right? And then you show up and you're laying the bricks, or you're doing the farm work for the foundation, you're laying the pipes, you're bringing in the electricity, you're doing all the things. You're good at doing all the things, all the new things. You're just not good at picking which things to do. You're not good at organizing those things, keeping things straight. Like, my desk is messy. I'm an SE user, but it's at the very bottom of my top, right? So I'm SI demon. I don't organize very well at all. I have to be very intentional with that. Well, you do too. Not to the level I do, but start taking small steps. Clean up your area and decide, okay, this is my desk, right? I'm going to assume that you're an office worker. And that's not generally what you do as an SE. Let's go with a mechanic, because you will find mechanics and carpenters and plumbers and electricians. They are all going to be SE high. Not all, but that's going to be an SE high dominant field, like, because you're good at the new things and physical manipulation. So let's say that you've got you're a mechanic in a shop. Your toolbox is going to be disorganized. You're not going to have your sockets in the right place. You're not going to have your wrenches in the right place. You're going to not put the right oil in the car sometimes. You'll be like, oh, well, this 5W30 will work just as well as this 10W30. Even though you know that there is a reason why those are two different oils. You're like, it's not going to make that big of a difference. I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to organize this best thing for this situation. I'm going to get the job done. I need an oil change. I've got this 10W30, even though the car calls for a 5W30. So what you need to do in order to start integrating this, and this goes for whatever your profession happens to be, we're just using this as an example. Organize your toolbox. Organize your area. Start small. This drawer in my toolbox will be organized every time. All the rest of the drawers, let them go for a little while. But this one drawer, you're going to keep straight for a week, for 2 weeks, for a month, however long you decide to do it. And then add another drawer. And then add another drawer. And then expand your space. All right, this area right here, this particular bay that I work in, is going to be clean. Between every car, I'm going to sweep it. Between every car, I'm going to pick up all the trash. Between every car, I'm going to do this. And then do that. Organize that in your life. Say, okay, this thing I'm going to take care of now. I'm not going to push it off to the end of the day where I'm going to forget about it and it'll be all right tomorrow. I'm going to take care of that right now. That's what you need to do to bolster your SI. SI is all about, let's get it done right now in the best way. Choose the best thing. Not the best idea, but the best thing, and get it done. The best thing is for your stuff to be organized so that when you go, you know exactly where to look for something. You don't have to spend 10 minutes trying to find that 10 millimeter, right? You don't have to spend 45 minutes trying to find the wrench. What you have is it's exactly where it needs to go. It's on the pegboard in the right spot. It's in the drawer in the right spot. It is organized where it needs to be. My filing system actually makes sense now, right? It's that energy. And if you can do that, that's really that's really what you want to do, right? You're getting all these things and you want to organize them. You're just not good at it. Right? Your logic check's fine. You're like, yes, this is useful. Yes, this is useful. Yes, this is useful. But you don't know where to put it. So figure out where you need to put it. It's going to bring us into the throat. The throat is what you miscommunicate and misunderstand. For the ESTP, that is going to be NI. You misunderstand and miscommunicate the best possibility. You choose what you consider to be the best possibility. You just don't relay that information very well. So you're deciding, your wife asks you to help clean the house, and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to take care of the bed first, right? You've decided this is the best idea. But you don't tell her. You just go and do it. Well, when you go and do it, it was not the best idea. Right? We use that example because it works here. But that really is choosing the wrong thing to do, right? Because you don't really see all of these options. You don't see these dishes and these clothes and these things that need to be done. You know that this bed has been bothering you for a while. It's tickling your FI. Oh, tricks are right there. And you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And so you go and handle this first, and it didn't need to be handled first. Because you did not bounce that back against the TI of the tribe. You did not ask, hey, is this what really needs to be done? You just assumed that you knew the best thing, and you went with it. You didn't communicate it at all. You also have a tendency to misunderstand when somebody gives you the best option, right? Somebody's like, all right, well, we've got these 3 options. We need the dishes washed, we need the clothes washed, and I guess that bed's a problem too. And you're going to misunderstand, right? Well, I guess we can take care of the bed, right? That's where your energy is going to be. Since you're just misunderstanding what people are actually giving you as the best option. And people will give you the best option if you kick it back to them. Your problem is that you don't really do that. You have a tendency to steamroll a situation, right? This needs to be done. I'm going to get it done. We're going to go. Instead of taking the time to consider other people. You should always consider your tribe. These people are the people that you, as an ESTP, are trying to help, right? E means tribe. That means that you want to give the new things to the tribe. That is what the ES is. And so, in order to do that, though, you need to have that best idea anyway. Right? If somebody says, I need a new car, you're like, okay, here's the options. And you're like, bam, 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 bam. Here's all the options. But you don't narrow it down. Like, they're like, well, I don't need that kind of car. I need this kind of car. You're not narrowing it down because you're not taking in the information. Slow down and take in the information. Kick it back to the tribe. Make sure that you are communicating to people what you think the best idea is. You may be right. Sometimes you are right. You got a good possibility of getting this wrong on the right side of the equation because you're only getting 20 to 30% of the information. But when you get it wrong, it's less harmful than on the bottom half of your stack because it's on the top half. You're getting the good information at the top. And so you're just not choosing the right one because you go too fast. You really have a tendency to want to get this done right now in the way that I have decided is the best. That's what the T is. The T is you're not flexible with the tribe. So you need to be more flexible with the tribe. You need to kick it back to the tribe. Take in more input. That's almost always the answer, is to get more input and take more time. Like, really stop and consider things. Really stop and think about it. For the alternate, we're going to be looking at FE, and that is the ethics. That is what everyone else has decided is the right thing. And you misunderstand that, right? That ties into the morals. So the people that you have decided is your tribe have decided that crack is a good thing. And so you have decided that crack is not a moral decision. Like, that's how that's working right there. Because the tribe that you have decided is your tribe, and that's what it is. Like, the tribe is your people. It's not everybody. It's your people. It is the people that you have decided is the true, like the real ones. Like, you're good. You're bad. You're a Democrat, I'm with you. You're a Republican, I'm with you. You're part of my tribe. whether or not they actually have good ideas, whether or not they actually execute on them ideas or do what they tell you they do. You've decided that this is your tribe. Well, you need to stop and consider your tribe. You have a tendency to pick the wrong tribe to align with. You like the feeling of doing the new things and getting the new experiences and giving the new experiences to people. And so, in order to do that, you're a little bit shady on the ethics. You need to kick it back to the tribe. And if they're telling you something that you logically know is not a good idea, quit listening to these people. Separate yourself from them. Get you a new tribe. You should always be expanding your tribe. You should always be considering other people's thoughts, right? And with your TE solar plexus, that's what you're really going to want to do anyway, because it's going to feed you. You're going to feel good if you're taking in their thoughts. But your problem is that you narrow them thoughts down to this specific tribe only. If you are outside of this tribe, I will not consider your options. Period. And so you need to work on that. You really need to stop intentionally choosing the wrong tribe. That's one of the things the options that you're not seeing. You're a mechanic. You work on motorcycles. You have to make the decision on whether you're going to work exclusively with the 1%ers or with the 99%ers, right? And if you're unaware, the 1%ers are the outlaw biker gangs. They're the ones with the little diamonds and stuff like that. You like the experience of these new people. Their morals or their ethics are very flexible, so they flex more around your lack of morals, and you're better with that because it doesn't make you feel bad. So you need to find people who are morally correct in order to help emulate their ethics, right? You need to understand why they are deciding that this is ethical and this is not. Figure out the rationale on that. Figure out why they have decided that these are the ethics. Communicate that. Talk to your tribe. Expand your tribe and talk to people outside of your tribe to understand why they stand where they do. Most people have a semi-coherent argument over why they hold their morals and why they think that is the ethics that the tribe should have. Because everybody thinks that their morals is what the tribe should have, and almost everybody is wrong. Everybody's getting part of the information wrong. Everybody. You just happen to be getting this part wrong because you are not communicating. You don't talk about feelings or ethics. You don't talk about whether or not this is something that is legal or morally correct because you don't care about morals. Start caring. Start looking at the tribe and figuring out why they have decided this is the best thing. They could be wrong. You could be wrong. Be open to that. You have a tendency to not be open with it. That T makes you not flexible. You're very much wanting to be in control of the situation. You want to filter it through what you consider to be the best logic. And sometimes your logic's not right. Most of the time it is. But sometimes it is not. Take the time to consider other people's thoughts on why they feel that way. The third eye, this is where you're going to get defensive, right? You're seeing forward with this. You're projecting forward with this. And because you see this as the near future, you get defensive over it. You think that you are correct in this. Half the time, you're right. But the other half of the time, you are not. You miss this fully 50% of the time. ESTP, that is going to be FE. That is going to be the morals of the tribe. And you get defensive over what you consider their morals to be, right? You're not really paying attention to yours. You consider their ethics to be your morals. You're intentionally choosing the wrong morals because you're defensive over their stuff. They have told you that this should be the ethics. It seems logically consistent, so you go with it, regardless of whether or not it is actually logically consistent. There are a lot of people out there who practice a certain religion, and I don't want to get onto this greatly again, but they practice a natural earth-based religion with a goddess that they worship, and all life is sacred. But their tribe has told them that it is okay to eliminate unwanted fetal activity. Well, them ethics might be wrong, but you're going to get defensive over that. Everybody has told me that it is okay to take care of that incident regardless of the gestation period. No, them ethics are off, but you're going to be defensive over it. How dare you? Greta Thunberg with her the climate is destroyed, right? We as human beings are doing something that volcanoes can't do. Like, they put out more of the particular gas at every single incident than we have in the entire history of people. But we're doing more damage than the volcanoes do. Even though the volcanoes, the gas in question makes things grow. If you have more of it, more things grow. That's how that works. Period. The climate issue is more to do with solar forcing and where we are in the galaxy and the universe and what we're moving through in space. Has more to do with what we have to deal with climatically than anything. But you're going to be very defensive over it, right? You're going to be that how dare you energy. That is where you're going to be with it. You're going to be very defensive because the tribe has told me that this is happening. And because this is happening, you must comply with what they feel is the best thing forward. That's where this energy lies. And it is not just on one side of that issue. There are people who are absolutely adamant on the other side of every issue. You need to figure out why. You need to stop and consider that your defensiveness may be wrong. Especially when you get defensive, consider that you might be missing possibilities. Especially when you get defensive, consider that your morals may not be aligned correctly. And start adjusting that. Figure out why the tribe feels like they do about the issue, whatever the issue may be. And then logic check it. Actually sit down and do the SI. The SI is checking the research. It is understanding what has happened in the past, right? The SI is sorting all of the things that have happened before. Now, and you sort them into best to worst, and you organize them that way. That's how SI works. And so you need to really consider the SI here, because you don't. And you tend to just take what other people say about it and logic check it on a rudimentary level, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, kinda. Okay, it's good. It doesn't have to make absolute sense. You don't even really spend the time in the logic check that you probably should. So you need to communicate with the tribe. You need to be less defensive when you do so, but find somebody first in your tribe that you agree with and understand why they hold these ethics. Why do you think that this is the most ethical path? And then logic check it for real. Be like, okay, let's see where the research really lies. Are there papers that are being held back from peer review? And there are. Let's consider those papers too. Let's not get defensive over them because they are on the other side of the issue. Let's actually consider whether or not this is something that should be done. There's a good chance that it is. There's a 50% chance that you are wrong on what you think the ethics are and what you think the ethics should be. Your morals are low. So just take the time, kick it back to the tribe. Talk about it. Talking about it with somebody first who you are comfortable with, that you will not get too defensive about. Like, you value their opinion, even when it differs from yours. Talk to them first, but then expand that. Take it to other people that you don't agree with at all. Try to figure out why they think that way. They have a reason, even if you don't understand it. For the alternate, this is going to be NI and the best possibility and guidance. So you have decided that this is the idea. This idea right here is the one, and you will not be shaken from it, right? At all. You get defensive over it. No, don't bring me no new ideas. Don't make me think about new ideas. I've already decided on this one. Well, you're intentionally choosing the wrong ideas to even look at. So you're missing the actual real idea. Get less defensive over that. The third eye slot, you've got a tendency to hold that, right? You're an NI, so you're introverted in your slot there, even though you're an extrovert. You're introverted in the energy of giving back. And so you have a tendency to want to hold on to what you consider the best idea past the point of where it logically makes sense. Now, you tend to consider yourself logically based, and for the most part, you are. But when it comes to your one idea, your logic goes out the window. You don't have morals, right? You don't really consider other possibilities. You're not really considering other people's thoughts. You are going off of you. Well, that's always, well, almost always a bad idea. To only consider yourself is almost always the bad idea. Bodily autonomy is the exception to that rule. Aggressing on other people, right? You don't get to do those things, but when it doesn't have to deal with just you, it has to deal with more people. They get a say in it too. They get to say, these are some more ideas, and you have to listen to that. You have to not get mad about it when they bring it to you. You're very logical. You're holding things for your own self, in your own energy. You're not giving it back freely to the tribe. Even though you gather it for the tribe, you're very direct in your delivery back. So you're like giving the least amount of information that you can in this area. Start expanding on that. Start trying to be a little bit more informative into why you have logically decided that this is the best idea. Start with someone you trust, that you don't feel like you're going to get a whole lot of pushback from, that you trust their thoughts on this. You trust their insight on this, their intuition to figure out what the other options are, that you're really just overlooking and then getting defensive because you overlooked it. When somebody comes to you with the actual best idea, you're not going to consider it. That's that energy again of the, how dare you, right? You don't get to choose that, even though the evidence says this, you don't get to say that that's the wrong idea. Well, no, wrong. If the evidence says that that's wrong, you are factually wrong, period. It doesn't matter how offended you get over that situation. And you will tend to, because you get the wrong energy, right, on the FI. So you're going to get this idea, and it's going to be the best idea ever. And then if you get any pushback at all on that, even if you're wrong, right, even if you're wrong, and 50% of the time you are, you're going to push back hard against that because your feelings and your morals are on the wrong side of the chart. You will get very defensive over this because it is going to step in your fifis. You're going to be the type of person who doesn't even think you consider your feelings. And for a large part, you don't. But if somebody steps on your feelings, you will be super defensive over it. And you tend to tie that to your NI. You have chosen this best idea. And if anybody else decides that that is not the best idea, that is hurting your feelings. It's not hurting your logic. Your logic is consistent. It's hurting your feelings because your feelings are really in the wrong spot. So kick it back to the tribe. Talk to the tribe. Get more informative in when you're doing that. Don't just go to them and say, I think this is the best thing. Explain your rationale to them. Give the tribe your rationale. Show them your logical process. You might be right. There's a 50% chance. But you might be wrong. There's a 50% chance. And that's going to bring us into the crown of the divine. This is where it gets easy. You have worked through all the hard stuff. You come from the base, you worked up. And now, at the crown, this is what you feel responsible for. This, you're getting about 70% information here. You're getting a good bit of information. You are choosing the logical thing most of the time, sometimes to your own detriment. Sometimes the illogical thing is the choice to make, even though you feel responsible for making the logical decision. Sometimes you just need to spend that money and go on that vacation because it's going to make other people feel good. Right? You need to spend that money and go on that vacation because it really is a new option that you haven't considered. And you're going to get a brand new experience from it. And even though you really can't afford it, sometimes it is okay to do things that you really shouldn't do. I know. I'm here trying to help you improve yourself, and I'm telling you to do things that are not logically consistent. Not on a regular basis, but in order to help you expand your logic, because your logic is limited to your experience and to your knowledge. So you need to increase that. That's the best way to bolster your logic. Sometimes just go out and spend the money. Money is meant to be spent. It is not meant to be hoarded. If you've got a bank account with $400,000 in it and you refuse to go eat out because that's spending money, that's dumb. Stop doing that. Now, the chances of that particular situation happening are not great. It's a hyperbolic exaggeration of the situation. But you really do need to take in more knowledge base, more options, so that you can be sure that you're hitting the right side of that 70% mark. Make sure that your logic is consistent with what you want. Make sure that your morals are aligned where you want them, and then make sure your decisions are logically consistent with your morals. Make sure that the tribe's rationale, that you actually understand it, and then make sure that your logic is consistent with the rationale. Find out what the best option actually is, the best choice in things and ideas, and then check it with your logic. Understand why they made those decisions will help you to understand whether or not your logic is working. You do this really well. It's just when you get it wrong that it bites you in the ass. Just like with your divine slide. And in the divine, like, you're getting 90% of the information. It's a lot to take in, and you have a tendency to over partake of that. You have a tendency to sit in that, and you're completing tasks, but you're working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're completing tasks, but you're not keeping things organized. You're just blowing through them. You're just getting task after task after task done, but you're not completing them in a consistent manner, right? You're logic checking, yes, this needs to be done, but you're not logic checking, is this going to be useful in the end? Start doing that. You're going to be really great at physical manipulation. You're going to be good at completing tasks. You're going to be good at finding new things. You're going to be good at giving other people experiences, being really good at making other people feel good. Mainly because you push your own feelings down, so you do what they want you to, and it makes them feel good, of course. But you need to make sure that it is good for you as well. You need to make sure that these new things that you're finding is not simply for the fact of finding new things. These experiences that you are giving is not simply because you can give an experience. You need to make sure that they are something that actually needs to happen. And if you can take the time, kick that back against the tribe, because it's an E, make sure that it is something that they actually need. If you're choosing a car for someone, make sure that you understand what type of car they actually want, not what you think is the best option. And so that's going to bring us into what you should do. You're going to be really good at construction trades. You're going to be really good at personality for a large part. You're going to be not flexible on the things, hardly at all, but you will be a little bit flexible in the ideas. Now, that depends on where the NI falls in your stack. If you're defensive over this idea, that's different than if you're just miscommunicating this idea, right? But you're going to be really good at making sure that tasks are getting accomplished. And if you can stay organized in that, that's what you really want to do. So if you are a mechanic and you're keeping your area organized, you're going to be the best mechanic ever. If you are a carpenter and you are keeping your area organized, you're going to be the best carpenter ever. If you are you'll find a lot of frame carpenters here, but you won't find a lot of trim carpenters here, because you're about getting the task done, and there's more flexibility in getting the task done on the framing side than on the trim side, because the trim side requires more attention to detail. But if you're strong in your SI and you're an SE dominant, you're the best trim carpenter ever. You can see exactly what your client wants, right? Because you've bolstered that. You're able to take all of these things and narrow it down to the best thing for someone else. That is where you want to be. You want to take all of these things, check it against your logic, check it against what the tribe actually wants, and then give it to them as the best option. So whenever you're building a house and somebody's like, I don't know whether I want a gabled roof or if I want a semi-flat roof, well, you can help them narrow that down. You get their options and then help them to choose what's going to be best for them. Do I want this or do I want that? You get them options and then you can narrow it down. As long as you're really strengthening your logic choices in this. As long as you're really looking at the options that they're not even considering. They're coming to you and they're saying, okay, here are my choices. And your natural tendency is going to be, okay, this is the best one. Instead, say, well, did you consider this? That is going to help you here more than anything. Stopping to consider the best thing, the best experience, the best whatever. Is it the best experience if you're doing fentanyl? Probably not. You're passing out, throwing up, and probably gonna die. Stop doing the dumb shit. Just because it's a new experience does not mean it is the best experience. As far as relationships go, you're going to want to have somebody who represents in the top 4 slots your child slot or your trickster slot. You're weak in your trickster. You're unintentionally choosing the wrong thing. So if they are strong in that, it helps you more than anything. That is your tribe. Whoever you choose as a partner becomes your tribe more often than not. And so you need to really make sure, right? You really need to make sure that they can check you in your trickster. It is better if it's in the third eye because they get defensive over it. If you're an ESTP, you need one of the top 4 slots to be FI. You need them to be able to help you morally correct, right? To morally correct yourself. They need to be the example that you can model. If they are doing that in a defensive way, if they stand in their morals defensively, whenever you fall out of your morals, they will check you immediately. The same as the opposite too, where you look at the ethics, well, they have decided that this is the best thing, and the tribe has decided that this is the best thing, and those are not the same. You can help them understand why the tribe feels that way. You get defensive over the tribe feeling that way. For the alternate, that's going to be NE, right? You are very defensive over choosing the best idea. They are very defensive over looking at new ideas. So between the two of you, you can balance out looking at all the ideas and choosing the best one. And that's going to wrap us up. Hopefully, I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion to a not too difficult topic. If you're not aware of the basics, it will be linked right up here. I don't know why I can never point at that first thing, but in the Infinite Integrations playlist, it explains the basics. It explains the definitions. And if you can get a base on the definitions, you will see that this is logically consistent. It is based in a broad spectrum of experiences, a broad spectrum of what needs to happen. So if you can look at this and understand the basics and really start doing these things, it will immediately bring your life up. If you work on your base, you will see a change within the week. You really will. If you can get, once you get that base good and firm, then you start getting into your trickster and can correct your trickster with a solid base. The growth is just going to be exponential. From that point forward, it just gets more and more and more and more. Like it grows. Like it goes here and then here and then it goes here and then it goes here. Like it really just jumps because you're strengthening what you're really weak in. So you need to really do that. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you, and this has been Pitt. Peace.